Hello and welcome to the 2023 HP Z Desktop Portfolio Channel Certification Training. My name is Brian Allen. I manage the global Z by HP product team for our desktop and mobile workstations, and I'm very excited to take you through our exciting new introductions for the desktop workstations. So with that, let me dive into it. Kind of talk about what we're going to be focused on. So we're going to talk a little bit about customer insights. Everything starts with the customer. So we'll talk about what we're hearing from our customers and how that drove the new product offerings that we have for 2023. Then we'll get in and talk about some of the new Intel architecture, Raptor Lake and Sapphire Rapids that goes into our 2023 portfolio. Talk about some of the new HP innovations. Talk about a new remote system controller for remote manageability called HP Anywhere Remote System Controller. We'll talk a little bit about the overall ecosystem, and then I'll summarize everything in some takeaways. I'll also note that NVIDIA is a sponsor. So as I go through, I'll be talking about some of the new NVIDIA card offerings into our portfolio, which we're very excited about. So let me dive in and talk about customers. So we met with literally thousands of customers in the workstation space and really pulled out three primary insights. One is there is a continued explosion of data, and that's driving a ever-growing complexity of projects. And not only is it, what do I do with the data, but how do I make actionable insights from this data? And I'll talk a lot about data science and sort of this booming industry and segment of data science of how do I take all of this data and do something useful with it. And it requires a massive amount of hardware and software to be able to generate those insights, which is key for desktop and mobile workstations. The second is that there's a lot of complexity around management of hybrid work. You know, hybrid work is more than somebody is working from home. It's really, I'm working from anywhere that I can be productive, and then in workstations where I can be inspired and creative. So it could be home, it could be office, it could be traveling, it could be a park or a coffee shop. But there's some inherent issues with around making sure that I'm getting the right performance, but it's also secure and manageable from an industry IT perspective. And then finally, there's increasing pressure for faster results. I need to do more, and I need hardware and software and solutions that allow me to continue to generate the creative and technical ideas that I have that I need to produce. And then, so if I look at kind of where our customers fall, if I look at kind of the main segments, I really look at three pillars. One is product developers, people that are doing engineering and design, and they're doing simulations, and they're doing, VR development and walkthroughs. Customers that are doing, Autodesk or SolidWorks type of applications. Then media entertainment creators, people that are doing 2D and 3D editing and finishing. They're doing developing VFX tools, doing composite, doing Maya, doing Adobe suites, and then I talked about data scientists being able to create and train models, being able to do the data analysis and the simulation, and being able to take or create those actionable insights from that data. So this is kind of the workflow to be thinking about for workstations. They tend to be creative and technical professionals that do highly specialized work and tend to need professional level graphics with ISV certifications. So be thinking of ISVs like Autodesk, because they're doing AutoCAD or Revit, they're doing Maya, they're doing Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator. Data scientists, doing a lot of very specialized software within data science, and a lot of mix of Microsoft as well as Linux-based type of applications. So that really drives us to what we're coming out with in 2023. Now, everything has been announced, and then everything will really be shipping as we get by the end in the April timeframe. So think of this as kind of three sections. If you look at the Z2, Z1 entry category, so really the first three columns, we've got Z2 Mini, we've got Z2 small form factor, and Z2 Tower. And then in some countries, we also have a Z1, which is kind of an entry level, a first step up from the EliteDesk series. But this is really Intel Core i architecture, i5, i7, i9 architecture, using the new Intel Raptor Lake architecture. So we're moving from 12th gen Intel Core i to 13th generation Intel Core i. And then with that, you're seeing, going up from 16 core to 24 core. So you're getting some performance increase, but really it's a processor refresh. So the good thing is we're not going from G9 to G10. For those customers that really value stable and consistent long life platforms, they're going to get that in the Z2. Normally, this would refresh every year. So every year they would have to do a new qualification. The nice thing about Raptor Lake is it sits on the motherboard of the 12th gen Alder Lake architecture. So we're going to stay at G9. Customers are essentially going to get much longer life cycles. They can continue to purchase the G9. We will keep 4 12th gen Intel Alder Lake processors available for those customers that just want to have, a multi-year life cycle off of a single processor in a single platform. For those that want the new Raptor Lake refresh, they want the performance bump, they want the additional cores, we will have new 13th gen Intel Core i architecture that will come available in the Z2 series. Now, as I said, the Z2 series, we've announced Raptor Lake and we've started shipping. So you'll start to see 13th gen, in the market, and you'll be able to start selling that to customers really now. So we've started doing that in the April timeframe. What's really nice about the Z2 that I'll continue to reiterate is support for up to K-series processors. K-series are, the highest level Intel Core series processor for those people that are doing applications that really require the fastest processor speeds possible. They can get that in the K-series, and that's available in the Mini, the small form factor, and the Tower. The Mini supports up to the NVIDIA RTX A2000 graphics. The small form factor supports up to the NVIDIA RTX A4000 graphics, and then the Z2 goes all the way up to the 5000 class RTX graphics. Then we get the Z4 rack G4s. No changes to that right now. It is our 1U rack built upon the standard Intel architecture. And then we have Z4, Z6, and Z8. These are brand new announcements and architecture updates that we've done this year using an architecture called Sapphire Rapids. And I'll go into a little bit more detail a little bit later. But essentially, we're getting very high core single socket architecture. So we have Z4, which is our best-selling workhorse. This now goes up to 24 core, being able to support 2 high-end GPUs. We have Z6, which allows you to step up into 36 core and add a third high-end. And these are high-end double wide. So think of, RTX 6000 Ada class NVIDIA graphics cards. And then you'll see we now have 2 Z8s. Z8 Gen 5 will continue to be our dual socket. So for those customers that still want dual processors, they can be able to do dual processors up to a total of 64 CPUs, being able to support 2 of the double wide NVIDIA RTX graphics cards. And then we have Z8 Fury, which is really the beast. It is the highest performance that we have, being able to support up to a single 56 core CPU. And for the very first time, we can now support 4 double wide graphics cards. So 4 RTX 6000 Ada graphics cards in a single chassis. But I'll talk a little bit more about the Sapphire Rapids architecture as we go through there. We've announced all of Z4, Z6, and Z8 and Z8 Fury. The Z4 started shipping on March 6th. The Z8 G5, the dual socket version, started shipping on March 20th. And then the Z6 G5 and the Z8 Fury G5, those will begin shipping on April 17th. So very close to being able to full shipment of the entire 2023 lineup. So then if we start getting into just a little bit more detail. So if you think of the portfolio as sort of workflow scalability, all of them are designed for the applications that I talked about. All of them can run Autodesk or SolidWorks or Adobe or Maya or Bentley or Esri or PTC. But think about it as scalability of the applications that you're running. Do you need high frequency single threaded applications? If so, Z2, Z1, entry Z4 class is going to be the best. If you're starting to get into multi-threaded CPU applications where you're running multiple GPUs at a time and you have scalability of that, then you start getting into that Z4 to Z8 class. As your data set sizes and the model sizes and the complexity sizes, and you're starting to do more 3D, more 8K, more AI, more data science, all of that is going to help you scale up into the architecture. And then as more performance, as you need to do more iterations, more simulations, you need a faster time to do quick rendering, quick application completion, greater accuracy, higher visual fidelity. All of that helps you kind of scale up into the workflow as you start thinking about, when do I do Z2 versus Z4 versus Z6 versus Z8. Now, talked a little bit about HP and Intel and Sapphire Rapids. This is really exciting because in the past, you really had to make a compromise. Do I want CPU-based performance? And if so, I had to do dual processors. Or do I want GPU-based performance and I had to do a single processor, and then that would allow me to put in 2 or 3 graphics cards? Now with Sapphire Rapids, I can really get the best of both worlds. I can now have a single processor that can give me 56 cores, and now I have enough room and enough bandwidth that gives me the capabilities of putting in 4 of those double-wide NVIDIA RTX 6000 ADA graphics cards. Plus, I get the advantages of having PCIe Gen 5. So I've got 4 times the bandwidth. I've got DDR5 memory, so I'm now up to 4,800 megahertz speeds. And then we're very excited on our Z8 Fury, which is that beast, that highest in performance. I can now do redundant or aggregated power supplies. So kind of taking this server-based architecture and bringing it down into a desk-side workstation. And then we're also adding front accessible, hot swappable M.2 drives. So some of the form factors like a Z4 or a Z8 would be able to support dual removable drives. Other form factors like our Z6 and our Z8 Fury will be able to support 4 hot swappable drives. So a lot of very exciting, very high performance technology that's coming into the new Z4, Z6, and Z8 lineups. So this is kind of a summary of that I've talked about. And this also kind of helps you step as you think about your customers and increasing the workflow. Think about the performance that they need. Whether they want to go from a 24 core or a 36 core. Do they need dual CPUs and being able to go up to 64 core or Z8 Fury where you've got full 56 cores? And then think about how many GPUs do they need? Do their applications allow for them to really scale and utilize multiple GPUs for GPU-based computing? So being able to support up to 4 of those NVIDIA RTX 6000 ADA class graphics cards in a Z8 Fury class. And then of course, scalability of memory. Do I go 512 gig and I can scale all the way up to 2 terabytes of RAM in a Z8 Fury G5 class? Just as we have a strong partnership with Intel, got a strong partnership with NVIDIA. NVIDIA will begin to roll out their new ADA-based RTX architecture. So we're very excited to be able to future build support for that. So right off the bat, as we start rolling out these platforms, we'll have that RTX 6000 ADA class So a 48 gig graphics card, and being able to put 4 of those into a system just gets our customers really, really excited. So again, the advantage is, these customers are running very high-end applications, very high-end workflows, and they really need that professional level graphics with the ISV certifications. They need long, stable life cycles. They need something that's reliable and can be trusted, and that's really designed for that mission critical capabilities. And then some of the innovations, because all of this performance is great, but you need to be able to handle it, reliability, from a reliability perspective, from an acoustic perspective, and from a thermal perspective. So the first question I always get is, okay, now how do you keep it cool and how do you keep it quiet? You got 56 cores, you've got 2 terabytes of RAM, you've got 4 GPUs. So we start off and we really design from an engineering perspective, cooling zones. So you'll see from the graphics that we actually have cooling zones. So the first 6000 class graphics is on the top. You've got a cooling zone for that. You've got a cooling zone for the CPUs and the memory. And then you have cooling zone for the graphics cards or the PCIe cards that are on the bottom. We also have 20 sensors that are throughout the platform chassis, and 28 fan speed algorithms that constantly and dynamically monitor the heat and make sure that the fans are turning on appropriately to keep everything cool and quiet. We also have configurable PCI slot dividers, so we make sure that we have enough room in between the PCI cards so you have enough airflow on top and bottom. And then on CPUs that are 225 watt and above, those automatically come with a Z cooler, which is a 3D vapor chamber technology that helps add additional cooling into those CPUs. So there's a lot that goes into the design, again, to keep it high performance, but keep it cool and keep it quiet. We've also added the front accessible M.2s. A lot of our customers in media and entertainment, in government and law enforcement need the capabilities of being able to take out that drive. Maybe they're locking up the drive at night, or maybe they're quickly moving data from one system to another. They don't want to open up the chassis. They don't want to pull out a PCI card. They want something that's front accessible. They push a button and that comes out. So we now have these front accessible drives. We have a little GUI that gives you control over what drive is populated, what drive is out. There's a little key lock, so they can be secured if you don't want it to come out, or you want to be able to regulate who does that. So again, our Z4 and our Z8, the dual socket, those will come with 2 M.2 removable drive capabilities, and then our Z6 and Z8 will come with an option of 4. The next we'll talk about is the HP Anywhere Remote System Controller. We had a lot of customers that really like, if you think of servers, kind of like the ILO concept of being able to take ILO hardware management and bring it down into the workstation space. So kind of think of that, being able to have a hardware tool that allows me to do remote out-of-band workstation management. So this is an IP KVM. It gives me the capabilities of being able to power on and off my system, being able to communicate directly remotely with the BIOS, being able to do bare metal imaging, being able to get hardware alerts, being able to do inventorying, those types of things. So we'll have a USB external option, and then we'll have a PCIe card option that can go into the systems. Now, these are optimized, and you'll get better and more capabilities using it on a Z desktop workstation, but it is something that you can use on competitor systems. You just won't get the full host of capabilities. So for example, we can't turn on and off a competitor system or get into their BIOS, but you will have basic IP KVM capabilities from this type of solution. So it really adds that next level of remote system capabilities and manageability that we haven't been able to have before on a workstation class. Sustainability becomes, continues to be at the foundation of our build. It's something that we build into the product. continue to be the world's most sustainable company, starting to use more and more ocean-bound plastic in the fans. So using 25%. 40% of product plastics are being from recyclable post-consumer. And then, we're having up to 90% efficient power supplies. So again, sustainability, a very important part of our design. And then, of course, you can't forget about the ecosystem. We've got a full suite of Z displays, 4K displays, curved displays, color critical Dream Color displays. And keep in mind, within the workstation segment, our users typically run multiple displays, 2 to 4 displays for increased productivity. And then a lot of the products like in the Z2 class will use Flex IO ports that give you the capabilities of being able to add custom ports. So I want an added HDMI port, or I want an added USB-C port, or I want to be able to add additional LAN port. A lot of flexibility around there. We do have premium keyboard and mice. And then everything that I talked about is rack mountable, from a Mini all the way up to the Z8 Fury. So we do have rack mount kits for that. And then, of course, our Z4R is a 1U rack mount form factor that makes that very easy. So a couple of takeaways, just as reminders as we wrap up. So we've moved to the 13th gen Intel refresh on our Z1 and Z2. This is the Intel Core I architecture. This is the 13th gen. So we're staying with G9 naming. Customers just get a longer, more stable life cycle out of the Z1, Z2 platforms. Just a pop-in of the Intel 13th gen architecture, Raptor Lake, so you get more cores, a little bit faster performance. Very excited on the Z4 through Z8. This is the new Xeon Sapphire Rapids architecture, being able to get that no compromise of I want the most cores possible in single core, but I also want to be able to put in a bunch of NVIDIA graphics cards, especially the new RTX Ada class that's coming out. Some of the new innovations we talked about, we got redundant aggregate power supply on our Z8 Fury. So being able to run aggregate because I need a whole bunch of power because I'm going to max out the system for best performance, or I want to do redundant for most reliability. Talked a lot of it around thermals and acoustics, and how do we give you the performance? How do we give you that unthrottled performance with great acoustics and low thermals? And then now adding hot swappable M.2 storage to be able to give you easy removable storage that can be secured. And then very excited about the new HP Anywhere Remote System Controller, really kind of bringing that server-based ILO technology into workstation client architecture, IP KVM capabilities, and now being able to do some remote management. So with that, good luck on the 2023 architecture. Good selling to you. We're very excited. We worked hard and can't wait to see your success. Thank you.